We spent a few days in Amsterdam. I'm going to show you all the things you can see in just 2 days. So we just got to Amsterdam and we took a little bit of a detour because we got on the wrong train. So we went all the way down to this. Yeah, I know. We moved. We went all the way down to this town, Leiden, which was only about 20 minutes out of the way. I looked, I did. And now we're headed back to Amsterdam finally. So, and after a 10-hour overnight flight, we are a little bit tired. So it would be nice to be back in Amsterdam right about now. But just so you know, just because it says Central doesn't mean it's going to take you to Amsterdam. We got on the Leiden Central train instead of the Amsterdam Central train from the airport. So, good tip. On our first day, we landed at 7 a.m. and despite our little detour, we got to our hotel and took a quick nap and we're back out to explore around 1 p.m. When you first get to Amsterdam, I would recommend just wandering. It's such a beautiful city full of history, art, and great people. We spent half a day just wandering around, seeing the museums, drinking some Heineken, and eating some of the world-famous cheese. The Amsterdam Cheese Museum is very small but well worth a quick visit. They have free cheese tastings, plus education on Dutch cheese, the most expensive cheese slicer in the world, cheese guides, and you can learn more about the history of cheese. After the Cheese Museum, we ended up exploring some more and then getting some dinner. Our hotel was technically in the red light district, which I would recommend taking a walk through at least once. It wasn't anything special in my opinion. It really feels like it's become more family friendly and safe for tourists, but I did not want to take video while we were there, so I don't have any. At the start of day 2, we had tickets for the Anne Frank Museum at 9 a.m. To get tickets to the museum, you need to be on their website 6 weeks in advance. It's very difficult to get tickets if you do not do this, and they do not sell tickets through third-party websites. So be aware this is something you need to do before you go. Cameras are not allowed in the museum, but I do have a full video of my experience in another video, which I will post above. So we are here at the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam, and I have to say something you definitely need to do. There are certain rules for getting tickets. You have to reserve them 6 weeks in advance. I'll put all the details below on that. But we just got done, and it was pretty emotional. It was quite the experience. I don't even really know what to say about it. Eric was here 30 years ago, right? 30 years ago. And he said it was such a different experience. Now they built up a whole museum around it, and so the experience is more about learning what happened than really seeing the attic. You walk through all of it, although they've closed off the really top part of the attic. So you really don't get to see that. But it was an experience, and you realize that, you know, I'm here and I'm in this place where these people hid for years. So definitely worth coming down to. Again, I'll put details on all the tickets and everything below. Make sure you do this when you're in Amsterdam though. Amsterdam is surprisingly full of so much nature, and that includes parks. If you're a runner or just want to take a quick stroll, there's a good chance there's something near you. For lunch on day 2, we ended up at Foodhallen, a food hall full of dozens of restaurants. I was looking specifically for a lobster roll, but that restaurant was closed while we were there, so I settled on some sweet potato fries. Foodhallen was packed, but definitely worth a visit. We are here at the Foodhallen in Amsterdam, and actually this place is a whole entire kind of mall area. There's a movie theater, there's a library, tons of other stuff here. But the Foodhallen itself is quite crazy. It's basically a food hall, and there's a bunch of different restaurants. My recommendation, don't come during lunchtime.
times or every time it was packed and really hard to find seating. But I imagine if you come 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it'll actually be pretty good. So definitely check this out. It's pretty cool. I'm glad we came out here. We rode our bikes because it's a little bit out of the center of town, but definitely a good place to come see. It's definitely do this too.
Next, we made our way over to the Rijksmuseum, which had a fun street market outside, and you could walk or ride your bike through the building. Make sure you get some of Amsterdam's famous licorice while you're there. We also ended up renting bicycles for day 2, which was so worth it and a much quicker way to get around the city. Next, we took our bikes and rode to the Heineken Museum, previously their brewery.
We are here at the Heineken Museum in Amsterdam, and it's pretty cool. There's a whole experience. We got to learn how to be a beer, which was awesome. I'm going to show you that, and we got some beer also. I'll show you kind of the whole experience and why you should come here when you're in Amsterdam.
There was a fun experience where you got to learn what it's like to become a beer. We had thought to get to the rooftop you had to take a tour, which we found out would have been more than an hour after the tour already started. But we ended up jumping onto a tour that was further along and got to the rooftop much more quickly. You can actually buy separate tickets to the rooftop though. The tour included a few beer tastings, including non-alcoholic if you want, and then tokens for beer in their bar at the end as well as on the rooftop. It was an amazing view of Amsterdam, so I would highly recommend it. Our Lord in the Attic Museum was built in 1663 when Catholics were not allowed to worship publicly. I did a whole video on this museum, so I will post that one above so you can watch the whole thing. This was one of my favorite things in Amsterdam though, so definitely make sure you do this while you're there.
Alright, we were told we had to come to this place, that it is the best French fries, so I will let you know.
Despite the long line, it actually went pretty quickly. I felt like there was nothing really special about the fries, but the sauces were amazing. No matter what, you definitely need to get some French fries while you're in Amsterdam, whether it's from here or somewhere else.
Alright, well, 2 days in Amsterdam and we are headed back to the train station to go to the airport. We are flying to Copenhagen. Great city though. 2 days actually felt like a lot here, so that was good, but I'll see you in Copenhagen.